Hey, everybody. Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Group, and all the other groups. It's Tuesday. It's 10 o'clock. So that means it's Hometown
It's
Heroes. Rick
Hometown
and Mary,
Heroes,
Woohoo.
let's
and
go.
we are ready.
We are.
We've
We
been waiting on this show for a
we
while.
we haven't had our guest that we have today in a while. It's been a while since you've been here, Don. And this is Don Graves, United States Marine, Iwo Jima survivor, World War II veteran, and a world traveler.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a lot of
Speaker,
things, aren't you? Huh?
everything. The man,
Yeah.
the myth, he's a legend in his own mind, I like to
Well, I'll
say.
tell you, when I was in Ireland, that would be the end of the world right there. That's it. I've seen everything.
You've done it, huh?
Yeah.
You've done it.
Ah.
Okay. And you just came back from Ireland.
Yep. I did.
And you spent your 98th birthday in an Irish pub, drinking beer and singing Danny Boy.
Yes, and they love that song. That's the classic of Irish music.
Wow. And so you just got back. Was it Sunday or you got back or
Got back
Saturday?
Friday
It's
night.
Friday
Oh,
night.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was a pretty quick trip,
4,600 miles.
man. And let's kind of tell the story of how you got to Ireland, because that wasn't in your list of things to go. I mean,
No, it certainly wasn't, especially financially.
oh yeah, yeah. It costs a little bit of money to get over there, doesn't it?
Well, Jeremy Block.
Jeremy Locke,
Yep.
the 7-time military photojournalist of the year,
Right.
a heck of a good guy.
Yeah.
He has a podcast called Last Letters,
Yeah.
and you were on that podcast.
Yeah. But Jeremy, we got talking together and we talked about Ireland. Well, that's an expensive trip, and I could never afford it. And so he took a picture. He took 8 shots at the studio. He finally got what he wanted, so he stuck it in TikTok. Well, I said, TikTok, I don't think that's going to do much, And he said, well, let's find out. So about 3-4 weeks later, he called up. He says, are you home? I said, yep. Can I come over? Sure, come on. He came over and he showed that picture. And you see that? Yeah, it's the picture. How'd it do? He says, read below the picture. And I looked down and it said, donations for Don Graves to take a trip to Ireland is now $14,000.
My
Wow.
goodness.
Some of the people at roll call donated.
hmm
Yep.
Right.
People from all around the world
Oh,
donated.
it went like wildfire, I tell you. And we did everything we wanted to do. We went to do good old Ireland. Oh
Because
yeah,
you're of Irish descent.
oh yeah. My grandma's family, all her family came from County Cork, Dublin. Yep.
Okay. And you never had been to Ireland before,
I've
had you?
never been to Ireland. I know I've seen Hollywood movie versions of it. Now, The Quiet Man with John Wayne, that must have been taken there because that's exactly what it looks like. Beautiful, green. Everything is green. Land of green.
Beautiful.
That's why they wrote that song, When I Wild Irish Rose Are.
So Jeremy, he started that, or somebody started that GoFundMe, and it got some funds, got some corporations behind it.
Mhm. Right.
I did.
American Airlines.
Yeah.
did it.
Oh, American Airlines. It was wonderful.
And our,
They gave me and another person first class seats.
Yeah.
They treated us like a king.
Wow.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Not only that, though, Don, tell everybody about how you felt, because one of the things that American does that's really amazing is that when they have the World War II guys and the Gold Star families and all those other folks that come through the airport, they like make an announcement and they pass out flags and they have everybody there with a line. Tell us about what it was like to go through that line of people at the airport leaving, waving flags.
Coming and going. Yep. Coming back. We were going to board the plane. And so all of a sudden we get out near there and there is a line about 50 feet long with flags on each side. And I went through that. And it was wonderful. All American people there knew that I was going to go to Ireland. and I went through that. It was just, they were warm. We had a great time. And then going back on the plane, they did the same thing. And I'm telling you,
It's pretty touching.
it's
isn't it?
unbelievable.
I noticed the USO was involved in it too, because I saw one of my friends. She was driving the cart that was taking
Oh,
you around.
yes.
Yeah.
She took us through, just like you'd have thought she had an automatic rifle the way she was taking us through. It was great.
So that was quite a send off, wasn't it?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Because I saw the video that I
Right.
don't know who was taking it, but I saw Kelly back behind you.
Yep, Kelly was
And,
there. Yep. Her and I got the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She flew with you first class too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They put Jeremy back in the cheap seats.
Yes.
Huh?
And they wouldn't leave me alone. They kept calling me back to where I always say the galley.
The galley.
Yeah. We went back there. Now, getting closer to home, the captain really left his job. We gave it to someone else. He came out, and all the gals were there. They got me out of my seat and brought me back. Kelly was there. Kelly was instrumental in it, I think. But we got back there, and they were all in a circle. And they said, Don, would you sing a couple of Irish songs for us? And I said, I'd be happy to. So I sang. And she said, oh, by the way, this mic will go through the whole plane, so handle that mic. Everybody on the plane, 787 packed tight with people. And so afterwards, Jeremy, he doesn't take first class. He goes back. And he and his other cameraman were sitting there, and he wanted me to come back. So all the way from the first class to going back of the plane, everybody shook my hand. It was amazing. Everybody. It was just, it was almost like a dream. And we just had a great time coming and going. I want to go back.
You want to go back?
Oh,
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to go
And he
back.
said it right here on
No,
this
well,
podcast.
listen.
So are we going to do a GoFundMe?
Yeah. So he calls me on Saturday and he's telling me about, because I waited, I was going to call him, but I wanted to give him the chance to get some rest. So next thing I know, he's calling me and he starts talking about Ireland and he goes, I miss it. I want to go back. You want to go? Let's go.
Yeah, I forgot. I did do that, didn't I? Oh,
It
it
was
was just
not even back 24 hours. It was pretty fun.
and you know, the Irish, they love America. They really love America. I almost felt I was in the United States, except that they talk different. And it was more green.
Yeah. And, there was a lot of people, Jeremy is the primary driver that got all this done. And, we just can't thank him enough for putting, kind of being the lead on this and getting you over there, because Jeremy, he likes to give back. He gives back and takes care of so many people. And he's always behind the camera, but he's not ever in front of the camera. So,
When I left the White House, they have a White House there, only it's a pub.
and
And
that's,
as we left, the owner said, Don, would you kind of sing something for us when you leave? And this is what I sang. Come back to Ireland, my morning. Come back to the land that I love.
so
And they all applauded.
how many songs did you sing at the pub? Did you sing a lot more songs? Or?
And some Americans,
Okay.
they like some of the country, the old songs that we had.
You didn't sing like Whiskey River or anything like that.
No,
Willie
I
Nelson
didn't sing
song. I
anything
mean,
like
you didn't.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that,
But this was in Kinsale.
Oh, I love that town. That's
yeah.
where the White House is.
Yeah, the White House is a pub, and it was like where the American veterans chapter started in that pub, the White House pub.
Really?
Yeah.
The American Legion.
Yeah, I guess it was
I
something like that.
I think that's what he said, was that it's an
Yeah,
American
I think you're
Legion
right.
Yeah.
post that they started right
Yeah,
there.
it's
And
a
that,
post.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, because you flew into Dublin, and then you went to the smaller town, because
Tinsel, yeah.
because some of our friends, Jacob and Ashley Schick, He's with One Tribe. I think they both worked for One Tribe, which was 22 killed. They had been to Ireland, and they said this is a really pro-American, pro-military town, and this is where you ought to go. And it turned out pretty good. The mayor was there, and
it really is. Yeah. It's just wonderful trip. In the shops, you go in the shops, and they saw my cap. They heard about me being there, and boy, they thanked me. Oh, they couldn't do enough for us. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, you were a celebrity over there. I mean, you were in 4 of the national papers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that, a celebrity. There's a lot more men that did a lot more than I did.
Yeah, but you're a friend of Mary's. I mean, you hang out with these, you hang out with these Air Force people like Jeremy and Mary. I mean, it's bound to get you some notoriety.
That's what it takes. Hang out with us Air Force people.
So what out of all that, what was the most memorable thing you did in Ireland? What would you say was the most?
I think the most memorable thing was at the where we have our building,
The
and
embassy,
the ambassador
embassy,
and the young Marines, they guard it, and they were out at the hotel the night before, so we had a party.
Oh man! Get a bunch of jarheads together.
They met me
have
at the
a party.
gate.
That's right.
They met me at the gate with the beautiful blue pants and the khaki shirt, and it was great.
Yeah, the embassy found out you were over there.
The embassy,
and they reached out and said, "Hey, come by here and visit."
They did. They wanted us to come there. We did.
You met the ambassador. Did you have lunch with her?
I call it the ambassadress. And she's from Brooklyn. Brooklyn, yeah.
Did you? I saw one picture that Kelly sent me of the Marines, and they were holding a flag.
We held the flag there.
Did they give that flag to you?
Yep.
That was the flag that was flown?
No, Jeremy just wanted us to hold that flag, so we did.
I thought maybe they presented it to you.
That would have been cool.
And the Irish are walking, it's busy. I mean, they're all going to the office, and they're all walking by watching, they smiling. They're smiling.
They're happy Irishmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen any disgruntled people there. It is just, I just couldn't understand. It was beautiful, unbelievable. And we went to an old town, and Jeremy was right. That was his ticket. There was 150-year-old chapel, and St. Patty had been in that chapel, and everybody stops and goes there, and we walked all around us, right on the river. That river, the picture you've got. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that where you were standing? You were standing in front of some water. Is that the picture?
No, I don't know if that's the one. He gave me a picture this morning.
No, that's not the one. Yeah. But the same river. It's just beautiful. Yeah. They have a lot of water. Yeah.
Yeah. My understanding is that you all were kind of just tooling around and driving, and
that's what we were doing.
And for some reason, Jeremy decided to follow another car, and it led you to the 9/11 memorial. Do you remember going to the 9/11 memorial? We were talking about it on the way here from your house. The 9/11 memorial.
Yes, I heard you, but I don't.
It was where some lady started that, and then she planted a tree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the 9/11, the fireman died. Jeremy, he just knows where to go to take pictures. That's what he wants, And we just sat there and look at the scenery. He pulls up to this. I didn't know what it was. There was a fence and a gate. And he said, and the wind was blowing and it was sprinkling. It was cold, right off the ocean. And he gets up. We all got out. They put an extra jacket on me, put a cap or scarf around my head. And we walked in. There are 334, if I'm right, trees just like that in line. And a flag is at the base of the tree and the name. And I said, what in the world is all this stuff? He said, how many, can you count them? I said, that's too many to count. He says, 334 here. Does that ring a bell? 334? And I said, no. He said, 334 firemen perished in the Twin Towers. And a woman that has money remembers and felt sorry for them. She went out and bought that lot, paid money to have it put in shape like a beautiful place. And she put those trees there, and people come in there and they walk through. It's just beautiful. In the back, as you leave, there's a black metal box with a lid that drops over. And donations are accepted. And I had a $100 American bill on me. I forgot to cash it in to exchange it for other money. And I didn't want to put that in there. So Kelly said, "Wait a minute, Don." Melanie.
Our dentist friend.
She gave Kelly $33 for me. And she said, "I forgot all about it." She said, "But there's $33 here." I said, "Good." And I flipped the lid over and dropped it in.
So Melanie Throne, Dr. Melanie Throne.
Yeah. So I called Melanie on the phone. She wasn't there. And I says, "You have donated to 334 firemen that perished in New York City at the Twin Towers."
How about that? All the way from over Southwest
it.
Boulevard.
Way over in
to
Ireland.
Ireland.
Way Ireland.
I noticed that she and her staff, they did a YouTube or a Facebook video wishing you happy birthday on your birthday. So I don't know if you've seen that yet, but she's a great supporter of of roll call, of our veterans and our military and our first responders.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so many people like Melanie that help us to continue our mission at Roll Call, because she's an individual who, isn't military, but comes all the time and supports us, whether it's through buying a table at a benefit or, I can't tell you the number of times that I've sent out a blast and said, "Hey, we have a family that, lost everything on base and they've got 2 little kids that need stuff." And she's like, "Oh, hey, I got the boy or I got the girl," and, and went and made sure that they had everything that they needed. So it's supporters like that really help us to continue the mission of Roll Call. And we can't thank her enough.
Yes. I'd like to say this. If anybody is out there and hears my voice, you know who you are, wherever you are. That was the kindest, greatest experience I ever met and experienced. The donations of the money that you people gave. I want to say something. There's good people out in our country. They're not all bad people. We've got a lot of good people.
Yeah. Donors.
Thousands of donors.
Yeah. If you look at the amounts of people we're giving, some people it was $5, it was $10, and that, every single dollar made a difference. So it helped a lot because first of all, American Airlines and their generosity of providing the 2 tickets.
Yep.
And then Lowe's Hotels. You stayed in some nice hotels, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Lowe's Hotels were just
They
amazing.
were a big donor, Jerry.
Big donor, because that's not an inexpensive thing to put 4 people up in hotels for 6 nights. I think it was 6 nights. And so they supported that. And there were several other donors that came aboard other than even just the fundraiser. So there were a lot of people that made this trip happen, and all because
probably thousands of them.
Right. And all because this crazy Marine went on the Last Letters podcast. And when Jeremy asked him, "What is it you haven't done that you want to do?" And he said he wanted to go to Ireland.
That's
and
right.
All the people out there listening, and we've had Jeremy on the show, so anybody watching heard Jeremy and heard his story and knew what was going on and donated. But everybody out there that contributed to this, it really matters. It really makes a difference. And you can see how happy this Marine is right now.
Well, it's a sad thing. We hear so much about the bad things, the bad people. We never hear much about the good people that are really doing things. And I've encountered that. And again, I want to thank American Airlines, and I want to thank all the donors that made it possible. I will never forget it.
And
in fact, I feel so good. I think I'll join the Marine Corps again.
when we talk about American Airlines, we have to talk about Randy Stillinger.
Yes.
Because he is the person that puts all this stuff together for
Yeah.
American.
Yeah,
And
he's the face of
he's
it.
the-
Maria Baez
He's
is
the
right
face that
behind
we
him.
see,
Right.
and he's got a good organization in there in American Airlines that takes care of our veterans, our military,
Right.
our Gold Star families. So, Randy, we love you and we appreciate you, appreciate American. It's just a great organization. So,
Yeah.
Right quick, Kyle, shake hands with Don. Don Graves, 98-year-old.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's an honor and a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
The top of, what time is it? Oh, the top of the morning,
Well, nice to meet you.
Don celebrated his 98th birthday in Ireland
I did.
by donors that donated to get him over there.
had a big trip.
Iwo
there.
Jima survivor.
Explain this to me.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Polson.
Mary Staffeld.
Nice to meet you.
How did Ireland know I was coming?
Well, we told
Well,
everybody.
I've got a press release here. I guess somebody knew you were
No,
coming.
they were waiting for me at this place where we went in, the White House.
Yeah.
And they applauded when I walked.
Yeah,
How
Jer-
did they know?
Jeremy had everything set
Oh,
up.
that guy, he's
Yeah.
sneaky.
He greased the skids.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
Everything was
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a trip of a lifetime, and you've had a few of those, and you're going on another one.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
you know
goodness.
he's going to Normandy at the end of this
I
month. He
am.
leaves for Normandy.
Right. Is it the 30th?
31st.
31st
Flying
when you
out on
leave?
the 31st with
And we've got
Liberty Jump Team.
several of our people.
Can
Yeah.
we do a quick picture? Kyle is he's
Okay.
honored
Okay.
to be there. Don, could you stand up and take a picture with
All
Kyle?
right.
Stand up.
Okay, stand up.
Yeah.
Larry told
I'll
me you
get
were
there.
here.
Give me a minute.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Smile.
Smile.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Kyle's a great supporter of Fort Worth Memories and for Fort Worth and for our veterans and our military. So
Man, this means a lot. He told me, I literally left a meeting. I said, I'm going to go meet this guy and shake his hand. So,
Yes.
we're glad you did.
yeah. No, what Larry's doing, preserving Fort's history and sharing the history is important for all of us. So happy to support Larry, but he really supports our veterans
He
and
does.
police officers. So it means a lot to me, too.
Yeah.
But
No
Well, you're a
doubt.
legend and a treasure for our country, and we wouldn't be what we were without people like you.
that's too much.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
That is the truth.
You know, when it comes right down to, I can be a rascal.
Oh, yes, he can.
I'm telling
I
you, the
wouldn't-
Irish will get up in me.
That's part of the package.
That's,
is the
that's part
rascal.
of his charm.
If you couldn't be a rascal, you wouldn't be who you were. So,
That's
okay, I'll
right.
leave you all
That's right.
alone.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Sir, it's a
Kyle.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh,
But we're going to we aren't, but going to Normandy with the Liberty Jump Team.
Right.
Okay.
right.
And you aren't going to jump though.
No, he's
But
not.
Al Chatwin,
Al Chatwin's going.
he's talking about wanting to jump out of an airplane. So,
Yes, you can sing a song.
You know, every time we get talking like this, I get excited and I want to start singing.
Okay.
That's proof that I've got Irish blood in me.
What song are we going to hear today?
Here's a song that Ben Crosby made famous in his Going My Way series. And I love this song. And they love it, but they don't sing it much, but they love the song. Over in Killarney, many years ago, my mother sang this song to me in tones so sweet and low, just a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way. And I'd give the world if she could sing that song to me this day. Tooraloo-raloo-ra, tooraloo-ra-la, tooraloo-ra-loo-ra. That's an Irish lullaby.
Wow.
That's good. What a treat.
Fantastic.
What a treat.
He is a singer, no doubt about it.
So this trip to Normandy, who all's going from
So
roll call?
Al Chatwin,
Okay.
Don, Jack Stowe. Derek South may be going. I'm not sure that's going to happen or not. Those are the ones that I'm aware of, whether it's with Liberty Jump Team or Best Defense Foundation, whichever ones are going.
In Liberty Jump.
But she left the best part out. Tracy's coming to take me.
Oh,
Yeah, Tracy's
okay.
coming from
Tracy
Hawaii,
Hunter's
and
coming to
she's gonna,
take me.
she's
Okay,
gonna make sure
That
that she
should be
gets
a-
him there.
that should be a trip. So,
Yep.
but several weeks ago we had Dale Atkinson, and he was from the Liberty
Right,
Jump Team,
exactly.
and that's one of the things they do is go over and do reenactments and do the jumps. So
hmm
we,
Yep.
we just keep bringing these people on and see all these ties that we
Right,
have.
exactly. You know, and Tracy's the one that that worked out with, because of course she moved to Hawaii. She used to be in Denton and now she's in Hawaii. She's the one that did our video, the roll call video that features Don and Carmen and a few of our other vets. And so that's how we got to know Tracy with Beyond the Call. And Beyond the Call, in her capacity and working with the Pearl Harbor Museum, that's how we ended up going to Hawaii. We went with Beyond the Call. So Don and Carl Flinner were the two from Texas, and then Jack Ford out of Arizona were all part of that traveling group that went to Pearl Harbor in December. So Don has been a busy bee. You know, he went to New Orleans to the museum, and then
And we're going back in October.
and then they're going back again. And then he went to Pearl Harbor, which when we went to Pearl Harbor, how did that make you feel?
When I stood over the Arizona and we were told that they're still in there, whatever, and you look up on the wall and you see the 25 Navy men and Marines still down in the hull of that ship. My question was, what did they tell the loved ones that they're still there?
Yeah.
And have they been dreaming that the bodies are still there? That was terrible.
And whenever I went to Pearl Harbor and went to the Arizona, one thing they said that they had tried to, cut some holes in it, but because of all the methane gas, they had explosions. I don't know if that's true or
Right.
not, but that's one of the reasons that they're still down there entombed. So
Yeah.
But I know Mary felt the same way.
had you been
When I
back,
left there, I felt twice the American I thought I was.
it's a very touching thing
It
to
is.
know that the way we were attacked and so many young Americans
Oh, yeah.
got killed.
We went in the airstrips. We had lunch at the Marine Corps camp, and that's where they shot up also. And some of the rounds, the bullets,
Yeah.
are
the strafe marks
embedded
are
in
still-
the concrete.
Hmm.
And we saw samples. All the windows
Mhm.
looked all shot out.
Yeah. We saw the
Whenever-
actual windows that
Yeah,
were
the
shot.
actual
They weren't
windows, yeah.
samples. They were the actual window.
And you had been on the way back from Iwo Jima whenever you were finished the battle. You had come back through Hawaii or not?
Yes, we
So-
went back to Hawaii to train and fight Japan
Okay.
because Okinawa was the last one.
So you were there in 1945 then?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
this was the first trip you've had back to Hawaii?
Back to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, back to Pearl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about, and this always struck me because this was a really special trip, that here is this young boy, 16 and a half years old when Pearl Harbor is attacked. And he says, I got to join up. Well, they tell him he can't because he's not 17 yet. And not unlike Jack Stowe, he didn't get someone to fudge his birth certificate. So at 17 years old, 6 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, he joins because of that attack, that very attack. And when we came into the first time that we came in to go on to Pearl Harbor, that we actually were passing through the gate, and Don looked over and he saw the harbor and he saw the capsized ships and he told me, Don, do you remember how emotional that was for you to see Pearl Harbor that first time since
Yep.
the war?
Since the war, I went through there during the war. Yep, all oil all over the water.
Mm.
Yeah. We had a lot of people visiting. Mary and I, we did something. It was my fault. After viewing, we spent an hour there. And
On the Arizona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the Arizona and the names on the wall. We left. We headed back to the hotel. And I said to Mary, I said, I made a big mistake. And she said, what's that? I said, I never gave a slow salute. And she said, we'll go back tomorrow. So we went back again. So they ferry you over to it. And the young Navy Miss Graves, you're coming back again. I said, I've got to go back. So we went back, went to the Arizona, and people were standing behind us. And I looked at Mary and she looked at me, and we both agreed it was time. We stood there and looked at the names, and we said, slow salute. And we raised our hands to a slow salute, return salute. And that made me feel, it made you feel good too, Mary.
Yeah. I'll tell you, those folks over there, you remember, and I don't know if they have the picture, but when they treated Don and all of those World War II guys so great. But when we went back out that time and we were on the little ferry boat that takes you across the way, as Don's getting off, they hold, if there's anybody else on there, they hold them back until the World War II guys get off. And as Don's coming off, the Navy folks are there and they're saluting Don. They're holding the salute for Don as he's exiting the boat ramp. And then when you're up there in the Arizona and you get in, so if you haven't been there, as you go to the back of the memorial, that's where the wall is, where all the names are. Yeah. And there's a little bit of a separation right there. They hold all of the rest of the public outside of that area while the World War II guys are in there. Mm. There is so much reverence there for World War II veterans, for them to have that time, for them to be there with those folks that passed on that ship and all those names on that wall. For them to be able to go in there and just, as long as it takes for them to just spend that time. And then you come out of there and there's the reflecting pool. You remember when we stood by the reflecting pool and they give you petals? Yeah. You remember?
I remember, yeah.
And
I remember that.
How was that? How did you feel about that?
You were getting involved in this.
Yeah.
You're getting to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He this was probably the most somber I've probably ever seen Don, was when we were out there. And just being, I don't know how you can't, right, be somber in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're thinking about those lives that are lost down there. And
they're still there.
And then we met this diver. You remember the lady diver?
Yes. She dove down below it.
Yep. And what did she do down there, Don?
I don't know.
So for those that don't know, if you were on that ship and you survived, when you pass, if you want to be cremated and put back on the ship, that's what she did. She took the cremated remains and she dove down and she put them in the ship. Mm. And right now there are 45 souls that have gone through this. And so the gentleman that just passed recently, he was number 2. So now there's one Arizona survivor left. He said that one of the quotes that I read that he said was, when they asked him if he was going to do that, he said, I was burned once. I don't want to be burned again. So he wasn't going to be cremated and put back. But that's the reverence in the way that talking to her, because we spent a lot of time talking to her throughout the trip. And she really revered what she did and what she does when she takes, that's a precious moment to take the cremated remains and put them back on that ship. Yeah.
And some of the mothers and fathers with the children sent them to me. They actually said, go talk to him. Go talk to him.
There was a lot of students and children involved in this whole Pearl Harbor remembrance.
Right,
because
the young Marines.
There was a parade too.
Yeah, the young Marines. You remember the young Marines
at the camp? You mean
everywhere? Remember? You mean you were surrounded by young Marines almost everywhere?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he spoke. You spoke at the cemetery.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And at the Young Marines camp,
Yep. Yep.
I'll never forget that. They were at parade dress with arms behind. They never moved all the while I was talking. And when I got done talking about the Marine Corps, what we accomplished, I said, "You young Marines standing there, do you have anything to say?" And they went, "Hoorah!" I said, "What was that?" "Hoorah!" I said, "Thank you." I sat down.
Yeah, but what about giving them orders? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. I forgot that. What did I say?
I don't know what orders you were giving them, but you had them doing all kinds of stuff. Don was out there, had them marching, had them doing about faces. He was having them do all kinds of stuff.
I've got one question for you. Whenever FDR died, I think it was April the 12th, 1945.
Yeah.
Where were you when he died?
When he died?
Where were you?
In Detroit, Michigan.
No, when FDR died, that was in 45.
Oh, yes. You mean there were three of us sitting in the car?
No, whenever he died,
Yes.
the president died during the war. And you had just come off of Iwo Jima. So this was April the 12th, 1945. Do you remember where you were when you heard FDR died?
Yes. The battle was over after 6 weeks of fighting, and we were released.
Okay.
We went down to the cemetery, which is right down near the beach, and Mount Suribachi. And as we went in, we were told to view our officers and our buddies and get out. We'll go aboard ship. We got aboard ship, and we started out for Hawaii. And then all of a sudden, "Now hear this, all hands. The old man is dead. President Roosevelt died with a cerebral hemorrhage in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Harry Truman will take over." I said, "Who's Harry Truman?" We didn't know who Harry Truman was, but I lost my hero. He supported us. His son, Jimmy, was my regimental commander for a while. He was ordered to Washington. I never saw him since. He never came back.
So you were on your way to Hawaii. You hadn't made it to Pearl Harbor
we
yet.
just boarded ship and started out, and then they announced it.
Okay, because the reason I asked that, whenever my dad was sick a few months before he died, there was a friend of ours, and he was on Iwo Jima, I think, but they were talking about where they were, and one of them was on a ship coming into Pearl Harbor, and the other one was coming out of Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
Whenever they heard that. So, somewhere you probably, his name was Robert Brooks. So he was on Iwo Jima the same time you were, but he was there a little bit. I mean, because he was coming into Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
A little trivia. So.
Yeah.
Roosevelt was a great president. He took us out of the Depression.
And you go back to that story you were going to tell us. The three of you were in the car listening to the radio.
Yes.
And what came on?
Yes.
This was in 1941, December.
Well, we loved the big bands then. All Benny Goodman, all the Glenn Miller, all the big bands. And it was cold. It was the day after Pearl Harbor, the 8th of December. And it was in the morning. And we're sitting in the car with a radio. We fixed that radio up. It's an old car. And we had blanket over us, show caps, jackets. It was cold. And then all of a sudden, the numbers were interrupted. The announcer said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast. The President of the United States is going to speak." And that speech, now that was when we were attacked. And he said, "Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon by the naval and armed forces of the Empire of Japan. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We shall gain triumphant victory, so help us God." Greatest speech I ever heard. I said, "Tomorrow morning, I'm skipping school. I'm going to join the Marine Corps." They said, "You can't. You got to be 17. I'm going to get the paper." And I did.
He did.
And the rest is history.
That's right. And as they say, the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So that the trip to Pearl Harbor was a very memorable trip for
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Oh, yeah.
spoke. So this young man that we met, the Marine that was graduating high school, was, oh my gosh, this guy was so impressive. And Don came up with him, and Don spoke at the cemetery. And then one day we went out to the Marine base,
Yep.
which is where the
monument.
the monument of Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Boy, what do
Yeah.
you think of
And
that?
they had me stand right by it when I spoke.
I think we've got a picture of that.
What,
Yeah.
what did you tell me about that monument?
I thought when you look at it, you almost swear that canteen is real. It's everything seemed alive on that. It's the best copy I ever saw of it. They had it there. That's great that they've got that
Yeah.
there. Oh yeah, but I saw my buddies there. I knew who they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of them were in your unit, weren't they?
Oh yes, yeah. But 2nd Battalion, 28th Marines. We took Mount Suribachi. We did not know anything about putting a flag up. That was my battalion commander's idea. He took a flag from a transport we were on coming there, and he said to Harold Schreier, lieutenant, he said, Harold, take this flag and see if you can get it up on something. He said, get some boys together when they get up there. Well, they made it up around the left side. We were fighting our way up. So they got it all organized. By the time we reached the top and stood there, they're raising it. And I said, where did they get the mast to put it out? We didn't have nothing about a flag. Well, when that flag went up, every ship off in the bay there, 500 let go in the air with tracers and rockets. It was a spectacle. And our boys that were on the north by the airstrip, they let go in the air. And we just stood there froze looking at that old glory going up. Do you know what the mast is? People don't know this. That mast that flag was on is drain pipe.
Mm.
The Japanese they couldn't purify their own water. They were short of water. I think that's one of the reasons we got those that surrendered. But they caught water and used the drain pipe down in their cave where they were. So that's how it went up. But my question is this, and I can't get an answer. What did they tie the flag on with? No shoestrings.
No.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
you
know.
couldn't take your shoestrings out. That would have been a big mistake.
I've got a question for you. And
Yes, it would have.
my dad, he was in the South Pacific for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And he died about 27, 28 years ago. And ever since then, the more I'm around World War II veterans, the more questions I have. So I've got a question. And you mentioned the canteen on that monument. Whenever you were at Iwo Jima, you had a canteen. How did you get your water? I mean, we didn't have bottled water back then. But
No. We called for water.
Okay.
They processed it down the bay.
Okay.
They sent it up in gasoline cans, and the water tasted like gasoline.
But they purified the water, which is what he's saying that the
Okay.
Japanese
They
didn't
throw a
do.
can.
So
off.
they'd bring you water while you.
Yeah, they throw it off the truck and get out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of those questions I would
Yeah, for
like
sure.
to ask my dad.
But think about what he said about when they raise that flag and all these stuff go off like it's the 4th of July, right?
Yep, just like it.
Today, people get, it's awful. You put up a flag. Oh my goodness, how could you dare put up a flag? It's so horrible.
Yeah.
People died for that flag. People died because
Yeah.
they love this country and
7,000.
they love that flag.
7,000.
And the flag represents this country. That it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But so Don, when you were on the Marine Corps base, where did you have lunch?
On the Marine Corps base?
Yeah,
we for the first time, I was invited to the officers' mess hall. And they have a bar.
You haven't been to an officer's mess
Well,
before?
I asked about the
Never?
bar, and they said, Don, the bar is closed. I said, oh, okay.
Do they still have an officers mess at NASJRB?
No, they don't.
They
no,
don't?
no.
Okay.
They don't have a mess at all.
Okay, I just
No.
sound like
Yeah.
another deal to get him involved in
Yeah,
going to
no,
the
They-
officers
they put
the
mess.
a-
mess they have is at the 457th at the spot the Spads have their own bar. That's a
Well,
nice
yeah,
bar.
I've been back there
Yeah.
But
with a little
that was
Jeremiah
beautiful,
weed.
Beautiful plate dinner.
Yeah, it
That
was.
was a
It was.
good
They
dinner.
they were very very wonderful
That
hosts.
was
They were
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we went. Where we went to the old runway
Yeah.
and all the strafe markings were
Is
still
is
there.
that where the plane crashed with the Japanese and
That
they
is.
got the body? And
Mhm.
tell us that story.
Yeah, I don't think Don. Do you remember the story of the Japanese that crashed on that part of the island where the Marines
No,
are?
Cap, no.
Yeah, so we went to that monument, and I gave Rick a picture of the monument. But they treated him just like they treated any of the Americans, with dignity, and they buried him, and it just everything that they did was not to say this is our enemy and we don't care about him. They took a lot of pride in the fact in World War II when he came down and died in that spot where you have that picture. They took a lot of pride in the fact that they handled him the way that they would an American soldier. And that's, I think, such a big difference between us and other countries. Is that you could have just left him there, you could have threw him in the water, you could have burnt, you could have done any number of things, but they preserved him and eventually returned him, obviously, to his home country. But can you imagine if this was an American that died in Japan or any other country? They wouldn't have treated our
No.
folks the same way. And it was just really, it's really touching to see
Yeah.
what they did there. They were so wonderful.
Yeah.
And then we went to the parade,
Oh,
and we're
Oh.
sitting we're sitting up in the viewing stand. You remember sitting in
Yep.
the viewing stands?
yep.
And we had all the Rosie the Riveters with us.
Oh, yes.
Now, I saw some video of that parade. That was unbelievable.
Mhm. Do you see it? Don was showing off his socks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everywhere Don goes, he's got to show
Right
off
here.
his socks.
I
Yeah.
like those socks. They're
Yeah, he's got
Texas
Texas ones on.
flag
But at
socks.
the parade, he had on the American flag socks. So he's showing everybody along the parade route when he was stopped his socks. But, Tracy had little cards made up for each of the guys. So Carl had a stack of cards and Don had
Yeah.
a stack of cards. And so as we went down the parade route, they were being pushed in chairs because this was a incredibly long parade. Wasn't that a long parade?
Oh, my.
Woo!
That was the greatest parade I ever attended. They were all tourists, the majority of them, with their families on both sides. Mary's running all over, passing out our cards.
And trying to keep these guys moving, because between him and Carl, one's on one side of the road and one's on the other side of the road, and they're both being pushed. And people wanted to shake their hands, right?
Yeah, they did. They sent their
wanted to shake
their kids
hands.
out.
And so they were backing up the rest of the parade. So I had to keep
Yeah.
telling them, get moving, you gotta go. But everybody wanted to shake their hands. But like I said, this was a really long parade, and they were backing them up. So I had to keep pushing them to get them going. But yeah,
A beautiful, warm evening. Beautiful.
it was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the whole entire way, they were like, oh, they're only going to go this far. They went the whole entire distance.
Yeah.
Did
And
they
they've asked
really?
me to come
They
back.
did not want to leave.
I'm going back.
They did not want to leave that parade early. They wanted to go all the way to the end of the parade.
Yep.
So we know where you'll be December 7th, 2023. You're
Right.
going to be
Yep,
back there, huh?
yep.
Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
Be the same thing over again, and it'll still work.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the ceremony that they do there at the museum right by the Arizona, they really take great care and have the vets lined up there in the front and honor them, the World War II vets. And as they said, fewer and fewer of the actual survivors of Pearl Harbor are even left, and if they are left, they can't really attend. So there were, as each year goes on, as we know, the numbers dwindle.
And that's
one
the
of
way.
the ones that we went with he passed.
Did he really?
Yeah, he passed.
Hmm. That's the way it was with the Southwest Iwo Jima reunion that they had in Wichita Falls every year. You know, they started
I
opening it up
love that. I
to
missed that.
Yeah.
opening it up to other veterans, and then
Yep.
finally there just wasn't that many Iwo Jima. And Troy Melton from Wichita Falls, he said to tell you hi because I was
Oh,
with him a
good.
couple of weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
Good.
and if you're going to be at the golf tournament, I think it's the 19th that the Marines have. I think Troy will be there, so
Oh.
you could smoke a cigar with Troy.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
smokes
Don's
cigars.
got a busy calendar this month. He's a little bit busy this month because we're leaving tomorrow
Yeah.
to go to the event at the Capitol where the World War II guys will be recognized on the floor of the Senate. So we've got 8 roll call World War II veterans going. The oldest going is John Wilhite, who John Wilhite and Ray Doss are both going to go. And both of those guys are 2 that served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And John will be 100 in August. So he's going to be there. And of course, our youngest, Jack Stowe, will be there as well. And we all love Jack's story. But so we're taking them. We've got a few of them that want to go the night before. So we're taking Judy Choate, one of our other board members, Bethany Harrell, one of our wonderful members, and I are going to drive some vets down tomorrow night. And then we've got a few that are meeting us on Thursday morning. And we're going to go down to the Capitol. They're going to have a little reception. And at 11 o'clock, they're going to come out on the floor. I don't know how they're going to put it out or how they're going to, supposedly it's going to be able to be viewed. I'm not sure yet how. They're going to be recognized on the floor of the Senate. Don is going to sing the national anthem and God Bless America
Is this the Capitol?
at the Capitol
In DC?
Thursday.
No, state capitol.
State Capitol.
Texas State Capitol. And Buck Sloan, Chester Buck Sloan, who lives, he's a roll call member, but he only comes up here on occasion when he's up here because he lives in Houston. He's got his whole family coming. I think he's got about 40 or 45 people coming with him. And he's bringing his guitar and he's going to sing a couple of songs he wrote for the war,
Good.
about the war.
Wow.
So we're total in the group that we've been working with. They're bringing 2, we're bringing 8. So we're going to have, we know we're going to have a total of 10 between the 2 groups. The girls have been working with out of Boyd. So they've got a couple of vets that they're a couple of World War II vets they're bringing. One we met because he came to a roll call lunch, Charles Braun. And so it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a really neat time for him.
Yep.
And then we got the big party Saturday. So
Oh,
yeah.
Tell us about that.
So Don's, he said, I already had my birthday. And I said, yeah, but we haven't celebrated here. So Saturday morning, there will be a drive-through birthday party. So there will be folks that'll meet. And if you go out to our Facebook page or you go out to, I'm not sure who else's Facebook page is on.
Cafe Republic.
Cafe
Yeah, Jimmy
Republic.
Polizani.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
Jimmy is the
Jimmy
one
will
that
have it.
organized the this part of it, the morning part. So folks are going to meet and then they're going to go and drive past Don's house and honk and wave flags and all that other good stuff.
Goodness.
And then that afternoon from 2 to 5, anybody that wants to come out and just thank him, you want to come out and hug him, shake his hand, hear him tell a story, sing a song, we'll be at 54th Street at Rain Lily Drive or Trail, whichever it is, at 35 and Heritage Trace from 2 to 5 Saturday afternoon. And we'll have some cake and we'll have a little fun and just celebrate Don in his 98th year.
Isn't that something?
That's something. That's
Isn't
something.
that something? Good people.
Yeah, speaking of good people, I just got a message from Maureen Ellis with Light Up to Live over in Dallas. And she said she's been watching the show. And she said every time she sees you or hears you sing, it puts a smile on her face. So
Yeah,
That's
Don will
good.
be doing several of their events.
She must have
Yeah.
some Irish in her.
she probably, well, no, she's from Wales. She's from
Uh-oh.
Wales.
Uh-oh.
You know,
Uh-oh.
Speaking of singing, are we going to get?
we're gonna
So,
have Don sing one more time.
Before we jump off, we do have one of our vets we haven't seen since COVID, who does turn 100 on the 12th, and they're doing a party for her. I still haven't gotten any details. It's going to be on the 11th in Weatherford at 11 o'clock. I don't know any more than that. I've been waiting for a call back. But Jean Buford,
I was
one of our
thinking about her. I
Navy
had a
wives.
picture I saw the other day that I
Yeah.
took of her.
Yeah, so she'll celebrate her 100th birthday on this week. She'll celebrate it on the 12th, but the party's going to be on the 11th.
Okay. And then we have roll call, the
26th.
26th. Who's going to be our speaker?
We're going to have Jim Sharp, Korea War veteran, is going to be our speaker back at Birchman. So RSVPs are open. So if you want to come, you've got to get out there because we are limited. This is a very, we can't do unlimited numbers. We're not on base. So it is limited and we fill up incredibly fast. We opened it yesterday. I haven't even gone out to look yet to see how many we have RSVP'd already. But if you're going to RSVP, you need to go to roll-call.org and do your RSVP because, again, we will fill up very fast.
And before we get into letting you sing, we just want to tell again how appreciative we are for all the people that donated for your trip. All the community just had an outpouring, and then the corporations, American Airline, and then the Lowe's Hotel. But go to Last Letters Podcast, and it's lastletters.net. And that's Jeremy's podcast.
Right.
And also in our Facebook page for today's show, we've got a link to the YouTube that is the interview you did with Jeremy that started all this.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and it's just so great to see people, because a lot of these trips that you take, it's organizations that do them,
Right.
Like Tracy's organization or Liberty Jump Team.
Yeah.
But this was a grassroots deal where the public just said, hey,
Right.
we want to honor this veteran and we want to send him to Ireland. And there's so many people out there that support our veterans, our military, and our first responders. And I just want to thank them for their support, because without the support of the individuals, roll call wouldn't happen.
Right. We get a lot of small $20 donation. I want to pay for one person's lunch, $10.
Yeah.
We get a lot of those small ones.
Because it takes those dollars and
Right.
those people that care to give, just like with Holidays for Heroes, the Air Power Foundation, Freedom Mobility.
Right.
These organizations don't function without your support. So
Right. And if you do go out to listen to that podcast, I encourage you to set aside enough time to listen to the whole thing. Because a lot of people have heard a lot of Don's stories, and I've heard him enough that sometimes I can help him through them.
Oh, she reminds me.
I remind him. But the fact of the matter is that there's a couple of stories on there that most people have probably never heard. So Jeremy gets him to go a little bit further and to talk a little bit more about some of those things that are a little more difficult for him to talk about as a general rule.
Jeremy has a really good technique that he uses.
He does. He got me crying when he did my interview.
Because he peels the layers of the onion one layer at a time, and he digs deep. Because some of the stories I hear of these people, I think, man, how did he get that deep into their lives?
Yeah, I worry about when you guys hear mine, and I'm like, oh.
I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that.
But Jeremy, we love you. We love you,
we do.
and we
We do.
appreciate you and all you do.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you for honoring Don with his trip to Ireland.
There's something else that people don't really know about, and those that donated, what money is left will go to roll call to support veterans again.
It just keeps on giving. What a great honor. Don, can you sing God Bless America?
Sure,
You know that song?
I think I do. And I first heard it with Kate Smith. She was a beautiful
Well,
singer.
just before you sing it, tell us how that came about.
How the song came
Yeah.
about? Well, Kate Smith, she was very patriotic. And she said to Irving Berlin, she said, Irving, the people they're wanting another, I'm sure they'll want another patriotic song. And so he said, I'll see what I can do. So when he went home, about 2 weeks later, he came to the broadcast that she had. After the broadcast, he says, here you are, Kate. And he gave her a sheet of paper, which was God Bless America. And she sang it. And if anyone wants to hear Kate Smith sing that song the way it should be sung, just get on the internet and require Kate Smith. That's all you need. And listen to her built that song out with high notes. That's how it come about. Yep. All right, I'll do it.
Don Graves and God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, wide before. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Don. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here today.
Been a pleasure being here and an honor.
There's, any time spent with you has always been fun. It's always enjoyable.
You can say that again.
Larry, what
Yes, sir.
what do you have going on?
Oh, nothing. Same old 60-40.
Politics is kind of
Politics is
We had
over,
the
and now
election.
we've got the Boxing in Cowtown program coming up June 24th, the birthday party July 29th, and then the 37th annual bike drive.
okay. So you got a lot of stuff going on.
It's a year long. Y'all know what it is. It's a year long deal.
Once you finish, it's time to start.
I don't even wait till the next day. Sometimes I call people that day because it's the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'll say, did you see the videos of the bike drive? Yeah, I did. Guess what? None of those bikes were given by your company. We need to change that for next year.
That's right.
So they give me a verbal commitment, and it's recorded. They forget. When you walk in this room, you're recorded and filmed, everything.
We appreciate you and all you do, and thank you for hosting us down here
Oh.
every week. And we just look forward to
This is our what, 43rd?
43rd episode.
43rd.
Wonder what, when Don was here, I'm thinking it was
We've
the
had
8th or
him-
9th,
We've
wasn't
had
it?
him a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think the first time was very early, maybe the
He's a frequent.
second.
He's a frequent flyer of our
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a frequent flyer these days.
Thank
How
you
many
s-
miles has he flown?
Oh,
Sheesh.
How many
Sheesh, I don't
miles
even
have you
know.
flown?
Just in the last 6 months, I don't even know
How
how
many
many
miles?
miles.
How
you've
many
flown.
miles?
I have no idea. I can tell you this. I don't care. I'm scared to fly.
You're saying that in front of Air Force
But
now.
American Airlines provided so much entertainment and good things for me. I just forgot all about it.
Sure.
well, thank you very much, Don. Thank you for being here, Mary. It's always a pleasure to do the show with you, and you are the chauffeur today for Don. So
Yeah,
you've got a nice show for today, Don.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
not-
show for
it's-
him a lot.
Yeah.
listen, every time I go with her, it takes me back to Chicago.
Uh-oh.
He's talking about my driving.
We were in Hawaii. I got to tell you this real quick. Tracy couldn't take us anywhere. She had to go to the bank at work. So she gave Mary the keys, and I
Don
said,
said, "Oh no!"
yeah, and I said, oh, that'll be interesting. So there's how much? 6 of us?
I think so.
6 of us in the car, and away Mary goes. Woo, Chicago, here we go.
Well, Don, one day you and I were on a little trip. We were going to Gainesville, and I was driving, and you said, "I sure am glad you're driving and I'm not." And I said, "Don, I'm glad I'm driving and you're not."
I I can't understand. I have a good driver. People just,
Aye.
they insult me.
When are you going to the casino again?
Oh my gosh, I got to stay away from a casino. I can't do that after all everything that's happened. No, I couldn't do that. Well, maybe
Next week?
a few
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. See,
So this is Hometown Heroes, and y'all had a treat today with
Yes.
Iwo Jima survivor, United States Marine Corps Corporal Don Graves. Don, thank you for being here. And we look forward to the next time you're on Hometown Heroes.
Right. It's a pleasure and very interesting. And this is a very good program. It really is.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And you've got the special master sergeant
right.
sitting here, Mary, who does a very good
She
job.
does. She
Most
does.
sergeants can't do that, you know.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Listen to that. I think he wants you to take him to lunch today.
Yeah, I
Is that
think
it?
he does.
Thank you very much for being here with us with Don Graves and Hometown Heroes. And we'll see you next week.